At least Archie will look like his dad, unlike Harry. Hello, lovely friends. How are you doing today? Great. Me too, finally. Thanks very much for asking. Last week, I was not feeling super great. I did my whole video with gauze in my mouth, and my mouth was numb because I had a surprise wisdom tooth extraction. Went to the dentist because my jaw's been giving me a lot of pain and grinding, and I have like a TMJ disorder. The dentist looked at my x-ray and said, that wisdom tooth needs to come out. When would you like to do it? And I said, now please, forgetting that I had to do a video later in the day. So he numbed me up, pulled my tooth, packed my mouth with gauze. After all the numbing medication wore off, I could immediately tell there was just a relief in pressure. Even though the extraction point was in pain, like my whole jaw felt better. So I went back the next day. This is not the topic for my video. I'm just filling you in on my life. And I got 4 Botox injections, one here, one here, one here, and one here, so that I would stop like carrying all my tension in my jaw and having really horrible headaches. If that is something that you suffer with, then I would recommend checking with your dentist, because I didn't know it was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. And my God, it works. I feel so much better. And now my wisdom tooth has almost totally stopped aching. So no more headaches, no more jaw pain. Very excited. This is like the best thing that's happened to me in a really long time. So while I was down and out recovering from my wisdom tooth extraction, had some free time, and I thought I'll just watch some British TV. I'll read the news. Like, I'll just try and relax, try and let my jaw relax, not focus on anything stressful. And turns out it was kind of a big week in news in the UK. I get my news, by the way, aside from my handy dandy news app on my phone. On my Roku, I have a channel called Pluto TV, which gives you Sky News worldwide for free, streams 24 hours a day. I can watch Sky News coverage of all sorts of things. In fact, sometimes their coverage of what's happening in the United States is better than our coverage of what's happening in the United States, because there's very little opinion, very much news. I also really like to watch Press Preview, where they go over the next day's headlines, and it's a late at night show for the UK, so it comes on at like 10 or 11 o'clock, but over here it comes on like 5 o'clock. So I get to watch Press Preview and watch them go through all the headlines. Now, I haven't watched it since lockdown because the news just got to be really depressing. Knowing that John couldn't travel to the United States anytime soon, and that I couldn't travel to see him anytime soon, I just turned it off because I was getting depressed. So I haven't seen how they're doing Press Preview these days. Other news show that I love, Have I Got News for You? And then it's Monday Night Counterpart, after they've had their attorneys review all the footage. Have I Got a Bit More News for You? Where you get 45 minutes with a few extra jokes that they've cleared so that they pass any libel restrictions. The UK's libel laws are much tougher than ours, by the way. You can get away with saying a lot more about people in the United States than you can in the UK. But anyways, those are my 2 biggest news sources. Have I Got News for You? Not so much news as like reviewing and poking fun at the news, or it's more of an opinion piece or satire. I also really enjoy Private Eye, which is also published by Ian Hislop, who's on Have I Got News for You. He's just so adorable. He's just an adorable little old man. I've been watching UK news. There's been a lot happening in the UK on the news. Most importantly, Prince Philip passed away. So I understand Prince Philip's a controversial figure. I mostly just feel sad for Her Majesty because she's lost her partner. And even when your partner is kind of a word to everyone else, they're still your partner. I was having a conversation with someone this week about elderly people and companionship, and how you just want someone that like you can ease into your later years with, and like have conversations and still go on little old people adventures, and life doesn't stop and you still want someone there. And he was her person, and I feel sad for her that she has lost her person, even if he was, I'll just say, controversial. So I haven't seen all of Meghan's interview with Oprah, but I know that she and Harry have said that there was a member of the royal family who questioned what Archie would look like after he was born. I know they said it wasn't Philip or the Queen. However, they would say that, wouldn't they? Like, it totally wasn't the 2 highest ranking royals in the family. It totally wasn't anything as scandalous as that. It wasn't the guy who like has already had his car keys taken away and has no filter. Totally wasn't him at all. I still think it was probably Philip. It could have been Camilla. Maybe they didn't mean anything by it. I don't know. Maybe they did. I mean, there's still vestiges of racism and classism and that sort of thing. And older people, and even coming from the South in the United States, even though I consider myself a progressive person, I still have to consciously overcome these biases that were like ingrained into me as a child, just given the area that I grew up in. So that's something that I work really hard on. It's something that older people don't really work on because, I mean, my God, they will fight to the death to defend some vestiges of racism. I mean, I got in a fight over whether a lawn jockey was racist, and they fought so hard to argue that lawn jockeys were not racist. Do Brits know what lawn jockeys are? This is a lawn jockey, by the way. This is what I'm talking about. Argued with a person whether lawn jockeys were racist because they grew up with lawn jockeys. They grew up collecting lawn jockeys or had lawn jockeys or had seen them. They didn't think they were racist because, I mean, maybe they have black friends. I don't know. Still wanted to fight tooth and nail to argue that lawn jockeys weren't racist because some article published somewhere in 1998 said that they were connected to the Underground Railroad. They weren't. We've proven that they weren't. It's okay that this thing we now realize is racist was a part of your childhood. The important thing is to acknowledge that and move on. Understand that this was racist and I'm not going to do it anymore now that I understand that it's racist. I hope that the royal family has learned that. Like, I hope that Harry and Meghan's relationship has given them the opportunity to educate themselves on, hey, some things we thought or said or did or owned or whatever weren't really okay, but I acknowledge that and I'm working on overcoming it. That said, I still think it was probably Philip. But I think when it comes to Archie, is his last name Windsor? Mountbatten Windsor? Or Sussex? Do they go by Sussex? Is that their last name now? I don't know. Archie. At least Archie will look like his dad, unlike Harry. Other news in the UK, despite what everyone thinks, we're not only concerned about the royals in the United States, we actually do care about what's happening in and around the UK. Brexit's still a thing. So Northern Ireland, here's a primer for those of you who may not be aware. You've got England. England and Wales make Britain. England, Wales, and Scotland make Great Britain. England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland make the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, aka the UK. So when we're talking about the UK, we don't just mean England, we also mean all of this island and part of this one. Problem is, when a lot of people voted to leave the European Union, not to leave Europe, because, you know, they're still on the European continent, but to leave the European Union, they kind of forgot that part of the UK actually does have a hard border with Europe, in that Northern Ireland is attached to all of Ireland, which is still in the EU. I took a European Union law class when I was in law school way back in the day, like 2012, 2013 maybe. So way pre-Brexit. They hadn't voted to Brexit yet. However, leavers may not have noticed that part of their country is still attached to Europe. Instead of doing my paper on Fergie and her daughters going undercover to expose human rights abuses and European Union arrest warrants, I could have done my paper about Brexit and that would have been so much cooler, but Brexit hadn't happened yet. I started following British news with Brexit, and like the Northern Ireland problem was always out there, but nobody ever really wanted to acknowledge it. Now we kind of have to acknowledge it because, like, I mean, let's be honest. Ireland has not been violence-free all that long before we go and made them violent again. There's a lot of tension in Ireland. That tension's come back. Brexit has been an issue. Lockdown's been an issue. It's getting very tense, and now young people are getting involved in some of the protesting and violence. So be aware when you say, heck yeah, England should leave the EU. It's not just England that's leaving. Like, there are a lot of issues with the rest of the country leaving the European Union, particularly when it comes to trade and people's livelihoods and jobs. And apparently violence that has bubbled back to the surface after we thought we'd kind of crushed it all down in the 90s. The UK has a very old heritage, but not as the UK. Like, it hasn't been a united kingdom all that long in the grand scheme of things. And so it's kind of a powder keg issue right now. But anyway, that's just a little bit of my review of the news for this week. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a little like, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you next time. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. said, now please, and I said, now please, and I said, now please.